Okay, so in our example, we utilized MSF Venom, which remember is a standalone tool. And the most important parameters, the -p, which is the actual payload, which in this case we chose to use a reverse TCP, the -e, which was the encoding mechanism that we wish to use. -i goes along with that one to give you the number of iterations for encoding. The -b was the bad characters. And then, of course, we pass the actual list of parameters that we want to complete. So L host and L port. And then -f was the format. And we chose an executable. We could have chose a PDF or something else. And then we outputted the name of that one. Of course, in order for this to work, we have to physically copy that file somewhere where someone's going to execute it. Now, that's part one. Part two is opening up Metasploit, creating an exploit, creating a payload that matches the executable one, setting up the same properties, and then exploiting that. And what that does, it just sits there listening, waiting for someone to double click that executable or open the PDF or browse to the website. Whatever mechanism that you use, ultimately, it really comes down to something happens on a target machine and I have an open connection on my hack machine. Now, Metasploit as a tool allowed me in the second example to basically use a standard exploit. So I used the SMB PSExec. I then told it to go to the target machine, told it to bring me back, in this instance, not a Meterpreter shell, but a Windows command shell from that machine, and passed it an SMB username and a password. Now, of course, you may all wonder where that username and password came from. That's just a regular user account that I have that has access to those machines, whether it's a domain controller or whatever else. It doesn't have administration rights, but it has permissions to those machines. So I'm able to run these commands and see them work. So in summary, we reviewed the exploitation steps, which was to identify the target, then to specify the exploit itself, to create the listener component, and then to actually exploit, or to use the modules in Metasploit to push the payload, exploit the device or the machine, and then create the connection. We created an executable payload, and we did this two ways. In the first way, we created it using MSF Venom. In the second way, we used Metasploit in a standard exploit. But the goal was the same. We created a reverse shell using Meterpreter. In the first example, it was a Meterpreter shell. In the second example, it was a Windows shell.